Record now.
What is the best way to contact you for that recording?
Towards the end, I'll show you my email contact, and I will have a PDF, real good resource PDF that I'll be giving to everybody. So that will come.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody, welcome today. Thank you so much for coming, and glad to see everybody here. My name is Scott Berlin. I am the Global Engagement Coordinator at ODU, and I work in the Center for Global Engagement. And today I'm going to, let me admit a few people. Today I'm going to give a presentation on scholarships. Now, I'll give you a disclaimer up front. I don't have some magic method. I don't have some scholarship hack that uses 2 cell phones and dried eggshells or something like that. What I do have is some practical tips, some great resources, but through this presentation, I'm sure you're going to feel that scholarships are very accessible and doable. So this should take away some of the mystery. And I've got some surprising figures about scholarships for you. And again, at the end of the presentation, I have put together a PDF page of lots of resources for you, and I'll put that in the chat towards the end, okay? So let's get started, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Not working, there we go, now it's coming on. Okay. I believe you see the beginning of the presentation there, yes? Okay. All right, scholarships, okay? Scholarships, how to get some free money. Everybody likes that. That's my favorite kind of money. Okay, to begin with, we're going to start with what you're going to learn today in our presentation. I'm going to go over the basics, okay? So bear with me. A lot of this may be pretty simple, but I just want to cover all the bases from the beginning to the end. I'm going to talk about what is a scholarship, the types of scholarships. I'm going to talk about why you should apply for scholarships, and I mean that in the plural. What scholarships, where are they? Best practices. I have some tips for you for applying to scholarships. And getting that extra edge, which is connected to getting some scholarships. And then at the end, I've got some special scholarships that are for international experience. So what is a scholarship and what are the different types? A scholarship is just money that is given to you for your education. It is a form of financial aid for you, okay? The good thing about a scholarship is it doesn't have to be repaid. In other words, it's just free money that somebody's going to give to you to go to school. There's 3 types, basically 3 types of scholarships. One is a merit, One is a merit-based scholarship. Now, these scholarships are based on something you have achieved, okay? Based on meeting certain criteria. Maybe you have a very high grade point average, or you're in the honor college, or you have some other academic achievement, and based on that, you are receiving a scholarship. The other type, a very common type, is a need-based, okay? Need-based need-based scholarships, they meet a financial criteria. Basically, you need some help affording for your college education, and you meet the financial criteria, and then you receive these scholarships. Now, the other group is the really fun group, and quite honestly, it can be the larger group. And these are specific groups that are based on your affiliation with a specific group. For example, scholarships for women, or scholarships for graduates, or scholarships for engineers, or any specific major. They also have very creative scholarships, like I found one that's called Doodle for Google Scholarship. There's another scholarship out there that's the American Fence Association Scholarship. And they get quite creative. So there's just all kinds of these scholarships for specific groups. A personal story, I remember when I was going to school many years ago, one of my classmates, he came into class one day and he was just happy and smiling. He was great. And he said he had just received a scholarship. He got a scholarship for $500. Now, this was back in the 80s, and in the 80s, $500, that was quite a bit. And I asked him, I said, well, what is that scholarship? Let me apply. I want to see if I can get that scholarship. And he smiled at me and he said, no, you can't get that. You can't get that scholarship. This scholarship is only for people named Ralph. My buddy, his name was Ralph, and apparently there's some rich person out there named Ralph, and they made a scholarship, and that was the requirement. So there's all kinds of scholarships out there, and if you can match to these specific groups, they can be available for you. Why should you apply for a scholarship? Okay, the easy answer to that is why not? It's free money. It's available for you. Okay. But let me see if I can really persuade you to start thinking in terms of this is something you actually need to do. The cost of tuition has doubled in the past 20 years, and that trend is only going to increase. We look at the data, we look at the numbers for a public four-year university like ODU. The cost to attend the university for a year is over $26,000. That's for 1 year. And if you want to prove this to yourself, you can check out the ODU tuition calculator. Go to the ODU webpage, go to the tuition calculator, plug in your numbers. You're a freshman, you're this major, you're living on campus, you have this many credits, and you're going to come up with a number that's right around $26,500. That's for a bachelor's degree for 1 year. For a master's degree, it's over $60,000 per year. So the cost of attending school is quite expensive. Looking at the Pell Grant, many of you get the Pell Grant. I got the Pell Grant when I went to school. Now, good point and bad point. When I went to school, the good point was that a Pell Grant covered 75% of all your costs for attending school for a year. And indeed, I can tell you, when I got the Pell Grant, that really covered a big chunk of my expenses to go to university. Bad news, or unfortunately for you nowadays, the Pell Grant only covers about 25% of your cost to attend this university. To give you some numbers on that, in 2000 academic year 2023-2024, the maximum Pell Grant you could receive was $7,395. All right, so you can do some simple math. It takes $26,500 to attend school at ODU for 1 year. If you get that maximum amount of Pell Grant, $7,395. Let's make it $7,400. Okay, some simple math. 26,000. You got a Pell Grant for $7,400. You're still on the hook for $19,000 per year. You've got to fill that gap with loans, money from your pocket, or you can do it with scholarships. Looking at the debt that university graduates have, The average student loan debt for a bachelor's degree is over $30,000. Pause for a moment and think about that, okay? You're going to school in 3 years or 4 years, or maybe next year, or maybe even this year. In May, you're going to walk across that stage, get your degree. You're going to go out and get yourself a job. And day one on your job, you're in debt $30,000. That's how much it is for a bachelor's. Double that if you've done a master's. The amount of debt, student debt, is really increasing. There are students who graduate and have a debt of over $100,000. Now, if you can just reduce that just a little bit, even a few $1,000s, $2,000, $5,000, maybe $10,000, that will really give you a much better start, because you're not starting your job and your career and your life with a ton of debt for your student loans. So these scholarships can help you. Just to give you some numbers, the total student loan debt, in the latest numbers, I think it was 2022, academic year 22-23, total student debt for the United States is $1.6 trillion. That is a huge amount of debt that students are gaining and picking up before they graduate. Okay, so you've got these debts, you're going to school, you're having to pay for it. There are financial aid, there is scholarships. What I'm really talking about, what I'm really trying to get to you is that we're talking about financial management. We're talking about financial planning. And you need to take care of your finances right now, today, this afternoon. And it's very doable. You can do this, okay? But it's up to you to take control of that, to give yourself a leg up, a boost up, a better advantage by the time you graduate. Okay. Another interesting fact I learned, that every year, this is every year, an estimated $100 million in scholarships go unclaimed. And that's a pile of money sitting out there waiting for somebody to come get it. We'll take a look at some of the figures here. This is data provided by the National Center for Educational Statistics. And you can see public four-year university. That's this red line. This is us. This graph goes up to academic year 2020-21. And they're saying that the cost of tuition was $21,800. Okay, that was about 4 years ago. So as I said before, we're at about $26,500 here at ODU. If you want to look at private universities, it really skyrockets. The thing you need to look at is these numbers are curving up. It's getting more expensive for you to get a college education. And again, that trend is going to continue. And there's $100 million out there waiting for you to get a piece of it. You just need to apply for the scholarships. It's there, it's available. Okay, so where do you find the scholarships? Your first stop, and I want to stress this, your first stop is the Old Dominion University Financial Aid Office. Go to their office or go to their website, okay? I went to their website and I can tell you they've done a really good job. They have lots of short videos of how you need to fill out some forms. They have short videos that will answer your questions and walk you through the process. Their website is really well done. This is your first stop. The financial aid office, they're there to help you get financial aid for your academic career. That's where you need to go. What you need to do, and I'm sure all of you probably have done this, is to fill out this FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. All you need to do for the financial aid office, they've told me, you only need to fill out this one form, and that will get you whatever financial aid they can get to you. And here's something I need you to make a note of. The FAFSA form, it must be submitted each year. And this year, attention here, this is important. Each year, the deadline to submit that form is March 1st. That's a couple of weeks from now. So if you have not submitted your form for this year, go to the financial aid website or go to the office and start filling out that form and get that submitted before March 1st. There's some other sources for financial aid and finding these scholarships. Outside scholarship, you can go to the U.S. Department of Labor search tool. You can go to particular foundations. They will have scholarships. Religious communities or organizations, they often have scholarships. Local businesses sometimes have scholarships. There's also a lot of web search engines that are search engines specifically for scholarships. And again, I have a list of these search engines in a PDF that I'll give to you at the end of the program here. You can also go to the U.S. Department of Labor. They have a search tool. You can go to the state grant agency or head over to the ODU library, okay? In the reference section, they'll have a reference that can help you find scholarships. Organizations, professional organizations related to your major that you're studying. Also, look at your parents or family members, their employer. A lot of times their employer may have a scholarship. Okay, so ask around. There's scholarships all over. The search engines, I'll give you just a few here that I found. One is called FastWeb. Another is called College Board. There's another one called scholarships.com. Another one is bold.org or Career One Stop. These are just search engines that will search a database and find all kinds of scholarships for you. Okay, so to get a scholarship, you just need to invest some time in finding them and then filling it out. Okay, some people might think this is a lot of trouble. I don't want to deal with this. I don't have time for it, but let's do some math here. Let's say, for example, I wanted to hire you to do a job. Okay, I want you to do a job. I want you to work for me for 15, maybe 20 hours. What do you think would be a good hourly wage that I should pay you for those 15 or 20 hours? The minimum wage here in Virginia is $12. So let's say I doubled it. Let's say I'm going to pay you 25. Well, let's round it up easy. I'm going to pay you $30 an hour for 15 hours or 20 hours. Would you be willing to do that? Okay, I see some heads nodding. I would, sure. That sounds like a good average. Okay, 30 bucks an hour. Okay. If you go and look at a scholarship that pays $1,000, now that's a small scholarship. $1,000 scholarship, the application to find it, to fill out the application, maybe you need to do an essay. It's going to take you 15 or 20 hours. For that investment of 15 or 20 hours of work of your time and you get a $1,000 scholarship, it comes out to over $65 an hour. So I would think that's a pretty good use of your time. That's for your first scholarship. When you do the second, your third, your fifth, your eighth, your 10th scholarship, then these get faster and you've already created some of the material, some of the essays. So your return on your time gets to be quite a bit bigger. Okay, so point being, financial aid office first, then look at other places, other resources where you can find all kinds of scholarships. So let's dig into some best practice, some tips for applying. Okay, this is kind of a common sense one. Start early, submit by the deadline. Okay, give yourself plenty of time and make sure you do a good job on your application and submit it by the deadline. Your second, common sense again here, complete the application. Okay, ensure that all the information, all the documents they're asking for, make sure you provide those. Okay. A lot of them will say, we want an essay. Tell us about yourself. Give me an essay. They're not big. They're going to be a page, page and a half, maybe 2 pages. Okay. So you need to write an essay. Writing an essay, a good essay, you can expect that you should do a few drafts of this. Okay. Nobody can sit down and bang out on the computer an essay in one shot. You always need to do drafts. You always need to wait a little bit, come back later, review it, improve it. Then you need to have someone else look at it and give you feedback and improve it. So any essay, any draft, any proposal, you need to make several drafts of it. Plan on that. Ask for help. Go to the writing center, ask your professors, ask your friends. Now here I'm going to give you a tip, and this is a life tip that will serve you well for the rest of your life. When you are trying to find out something, you need information on something, ask the right person. If you're writing an essay, don't ask a person who has never written one. If you're looking for some financial advice, how do I become rich? How do I become a millionaire? You're not going to go ask a poor person. They have no idea how to become rich. Ask the right person. Okay. Again, I'll share a personal story with you. I had an older brother, and years ago, when I got married, okay, at the time that I got married, my older brother had been married twice and divorced twice. So now I'm getting married. I'm on my wedding day. Am I going to go ask my older brother, hey, older brother, tell me, what's the secret to a good marriage? No, I am not going to ask him that. He has no clue how to make a good marriage. Okay? My point is, a lot of times we ask our friends and family because they're our loved ones, they're next to us. Okay? But you really need to ask the right person. And many times your friends and family are not the right person to be asking. So when you're writing, when you're making these applications, make sure you're asking the right people, people in the writing center, your professors, they can help you. When you do write, you want to write about yourself, and don't BS your way with a lot of fluff and grandeur in your essay. Don't say, well, in my young years, I have achieved 86.7% of my goals. This makes me a really great entrepreneurial spirit. And I have done this through diligence, hard work, critical thinking, and prior proper pre-planning. Your investment in me will not only greatly expand my educational horizons, but will benefit the community. Yeah, forget all that. Okay, don't put in fluff. Be genuine, be real, talk about you. That's what you need to put in an essay. Double check and triple check these applications. I can't emphasize this enough. I've written a couple of textbooks, and I can tell you, after you check it 3 times and another person checks it 3 times, there are still mistakes to be found. So make sure you double and triple check your application. Also, be neat. Make sure you have good quality copies of the required documents, check for spelling. Yes, neatness does count. I promise you, I've looked at lots of job applications when I've hired people in my department. I've looked at lots of things that people have sent me, and neatness does have a good impact. So make sure you're neat. Let me give you a couple extra tips on here that's not on your screen. Make copies of your application just in case some get lost or deleted or something happens. Make copy of those. Also, you're going to be applying for several scholarships. The stuff that you make a copy of, your 8th scholarship you're applying for, your 10th scholarship you're applying for, you're going to be able to copy and paste some of the information in there, so it'll get faster and easier. Also, another tip, make it known that you are trying to get scholarships. Let your teachers know. Let your parents and your friends know, okay? Once this word starts getting around, perhaps people will start coming to you and say, oh, I do know of a scholarship over here. Also, by letting your teachers know you are looking for scholarships, you are applying for scholarships, you're making a connection with your teacher. You're establishing a relationship. This is a really good thing, not only for scholarships, but for many other academic reasons. Some scholarships will require that you have a letter of recommendation from a professor or teacher. You want to have a relationship with your teacher so they know something about you. What you don't want to do is to go knocking on your professor's door and say, hi, my name is Scott, and I need a recommendation from you. And that is your first visit to the office. So go talk to your teachers, talk to your professors, let them know you're looking for scholarships and build a relationship with them. It will do you well in the long run on many levels. Mistakes you need to avoid. And again, these are pretty common sense. Mistakes that people make: starting late, producing poor quality of work, missing the deadline, applying for scam scholarships. Yes, there are scam scholarships out there. Be careful. If you're applying to a scholarship and somebody says, well, we need your credit card just to secure your spot here, we're not going to charge it. No, that's a scam. Or another one says, give me a $25 deposit and we'll make sure somebody reviews your essay for you. No, these are scholarships. You don't need to pay somebody for it, okay? So be careful. There are scam scholarships out there. If somebody's asking for personal information, credit card information, bank information, or just asking you for money, hit pause and think about it. It's probably a scam. Be careful. Another mistake you want to avoid is submitting incomplete application, or you don't meet the requirements. In the scholarship, somewhere it's going to tell you, here are the requirements, okay? So a real simple example is that somebody's offering a scholarship for women and you're a male and you're applying for that. Okay, you don't meet the requirement, okay? Or you're applying for a scholarship for engineers, but you're a graphic design major. Make sure you meet the requirements necessary for the scholarship. Now, here's a good tip. Mistake people make is you ignore the smaller scholarships. Okay, like I said, the $500, the $1,000 scholarships, they're out there. A lot of people think, well, that's too small. I'm going to pass over that. I'm going to go for the, $100,000 scholarship. Great, go for the $100,000, but also go for the $1,000. Remember when we did the math, $1,000 scholarship, 15 to 20 hours of work, you're making $65 an hour. Okay, that's pretty good. So don't ignore the smaller scholarships, because when you graduate and you walk out the doors of ODU, if you can reduce your debt by $1,000 or $2,000, that will help you. Excuse me. Another thing that mistake people make is they believe applying to one or two scholarships, okay, that's it, I'm done, there's no more scholarships, okay? In my research for this presentation, I found an article of a student who applied to a lot. He had some method or some system where he applied to hundreds of them, but he also received $1.6 million of scholarship funding to go to school. So don't think it's a one or two shot deal. Apply to a lot of them, okay? Now, What I want to talk about is getting that extra edge. Okay. And I'll share with you some of my thoughts. Getting a degree, without a doubt, it is the best road to prosperity. In every part of the world, education has always been the best means to increase one's prosperity. Okay. So education is your best investment. Okay. It is also true that the number of people getting degrees is increasing. Some statistics I found in the decade from 2011 to 2021, 25% of US adults over the age of 25, those receiving a degree went from 30% to 40%. So it just means more people are getting a degree. If you look at that same time period, 2011 to 2021, the number of people getting a master's degree increased by 50%. What this means to you is that the competition is getting tougher because there's more graduates. There's more graduates out there. So your competition for jobs and employment is getting tougher. This trend is only going to increase. When you graduate, you'll have the same degree and qualifications as every other graduate in your major. Okay, excellent. Well done. You got a degree, you've graduated. Okay, but let's look at it from an employer's position. I'm an employer and I've got 2 job openings, but now I've got 150 resumes and they all look the same. They all have the same degrees. They all have pretty much the same extracurricular activities. Okay. So all this stack of resumes that I have, they all look just about the same. My question to you, okay, my question to you is, what do you bring extra to the table? What's going to help you rise above that crowd? QS Global Employer Report. Okay, this is a very big survey that is done worldwide. They go out and they look at, they survey 10,000 recruiters or HR personnel worldwide, and they ask a lot of data. One of the things they ask them is, okay, what are you looking for? What skills, talents, abilities are you looking for in your graduates? And on this report, they look for skills and experiences that are gained through overseas study. Overseas study. When we look at what employers want, talk to employers. They want students with critical thinking, problem-solving skills, adaptability, foreign language, communications, cultural awareness, self-reliance, confidence, intercultural skills, empathy. These are the skills that employers are looking for. It is no understatement to say that we need to produce graduates who are ready for the global workforce. Emphasis on the global workforce. Okay. You get these experiences through international experience, study abroad. Okay. So this is one of those extras that gets your resume on the short list of the ones the employer calls in for a face-to-face interview. You need to think about what's that extra that you're going to have when you graduate from ODU. In my office, Center for Global Engagement, okay, I have a set of scholarships that are specifically for international experience. These are government-sponsored scholarships. They're open to everybody, okay, as long as you're a U.S. citizen, because they're sponsored by the U.S. government. Open to everybody, and some of them are fully funded. When I mean fully funded, I mean the whole package. They will pay for your round-trip airfare They will pay for your medical insurance. They'll pay for your tuition. They'll pay for your room and board. They'll pay for, give you a stipend to live on, okay? And it's for a full academic year. It's a full package. Another one of these scholarships called the Bourne Award, they'll give you up to $25,000 to go to another country and study a language for an academic year. Or you can do it for one semester. Other scholarships that I have in my office, they can be $5,000. Now, these would be for a shorter study abroad program for 2 weeks or 3 weeks during a summer, during a spring break or something of that nature. And depending on which of these scholarships you choose, you have over 140 countries that you can choose from to engage these scholarships. These scholarships that I have in my office are the Fulbright Scholarship, Bourne Awards, Benjamin Gilman Scholarship, and Critical Language Scholarships, okay? Again, these 4 that I have in my office, these are just for international experience. If you're interested in these, and I hope you are, please come talk to me, okay? All right. I've completed my discussion of what I wanted to tell you about scholarships. My name is Scott Berlin. I'm the Global Engagement Coordinator, and you can see my email there. Right now, I am going to add what I promised you. No. I'm going to add in that PDF I told you about that has all my resources. One second, I got to go through the files here and retrieve that. Okay, I've uploaded that. Looks like it went okay. All right, I will stop sharing my screen. Whoa, look at all the people who showed up in there. That's wonderful. One moment, let me stop recording here.